Just want to say Mary's retiring after 5 years with us, and we really were joking but kind of serious. We made it to 993, and I'm like, come on, man, she needs to retire at 1,000 members. How can't we just pay people to come in? I'll give you a cell phone or something for the next. Anyway, she's been awesome. I just want to talk a little bit about from integration to leadership, which is where we're kind of moving at First Unitarian, and are newbies to this, but have done a lot of work. In particular, Scott and I are big fans of Andy Stanley. I don't know if you know the guy. He's an evangelical in Atlanta that has leadership podcasts that are possibly the best kind of staff support and understanding yourself as a leader, both from a minister's perspective, from your membership staff, and working as a team together. So we use a lot of Andy Stanley kind of work together as a team. And then also, once we set out this entire path, we made it very clear to people that you were supposed to take this step, and then you go to this step, and then you go to this step, so that we're all on the same operating system. Not just with our mission, but that you have all been, I hate to use this word, but kind of herded through the same gate. Am I making sense? Do you know what I mean? Are you awake out there right now? Yes? Okay. Anyway, so part of that has been, this year we worked with a book called Simple Church, which is another evangelical who put the book together. But it's brilliant because it really helps you take down your mission and operationalize it and use it in many different ways, which is very key to membership. So you get people that are coming in the door that understand exactly what it is that your church is about. And they can say it back to you right away instead of saying, what is Unitarian Universalism? What does that mean? And why am I here? So we use Simple Church to really map out what are all the steps. And what was most helpful with that was being able to look at the steps from the beginning all the way to the end and say, okay, now what are we screwing up with here? Where are we losing people? And one of the things that was incredibly helpful was to say, we do all this work of getting people through Starting Point, which is this class that we created about using our mission, as Mary said, about listen, open, serve. And people have spiritual assignments that they have to take home and wrestle with and do the assignment and come back and have the conversation about that. But the other piece of that was they're getting through Starting Point, and we were kind of haphazardly moving them into a journey group. Now, journey groups at First Unitarian are huge. When you're in a congregation of about 900, you need places where people have 8 to 10 people that they are integrated with, right? So when we came 7 years ago, there were 100 people in small groups. Now we have about 700 people in small groups. So it's really big for us that even if you've been a Unitarian for a long time, primarily we push Soul Matters, which is our covenant group. But what we were finding was we weren't doing enough work to make sure that we ushered them into that. And we wouldn't have known that had we not put everything out in front of us and been very critical about ourselves, oh, geez, we're doing all this work and then we're losing them down the line. Am I making sense about that? Which I think we're all doing such great work, it behooves us to really say, where are we losing people and how could we take care of those nets on the back end? So one of the other things, too, for us has been creating disciples. And I know that sounds like that big, scary evangelical word. Everybody's like, disciples? What? But for us, it's saying, if we are having people understand the mission as what it means to live and love in the world, to listen deeply, be open to life's gifts, serve needs greater than their own, I want them to be able to articulate that and then help other people come on board with that in a way that they are integrating that into their life as well. So what we are trying to do is do more work related to the discipling of leaders along the way. And for us, that has meant a couple things. One is we're starting up and really making this key is restart. So you have all these folks who have been around and are fabulous leaders, but they're working with a different operating system from 20 years ago and their understanding of Unitarian Universalism than how we're talking about the 500 or so new people we've had in the last 7 years. Right? Are you awake? Really, you have to talk back to me. I know that's irritating, but I need to know you are not sleeping on me. Okay. So we are making them actually go through starting point again, because starting point's all about what's your theology, what's the theology of disconnection, and then how do they go together, right? So if we get people who've been around for 20 years all in the same operating system, then you can understand how it makes your church more vibrant. You're all working with the same kind of way of thinking about what does it mean to be a member of First Unitarian and how can I articulate that to everybody else then, and also think about it for myself. Okay? The other piece for us is leadership training, which we've done a great job of leadership training with our small groups, but we are trying to get away from doing leadership training where you send a group of people off, as great as they are, to a leadership training. Have you ever had people go to those regional leader, what are they called? Yeah. Okay. So they go off, they're all excited. Woohoo! Then they come back and you can't figure out how to be able to integrate them into what it is you have going on. So we are trying to be able to say that if you worked with your leaders, and that we're taking our nominating committee to be more leadership development. That's where we'd like to move them to. We're not there yet, but I think that's where we have to move to. Is that you have steps of leadership. In other words, you can't really be on the board. This is what we're hoping to get to, unless you have some early leadership work. So things like project leaders, RE teachers, group facilitators, small group facilitators. Your next step would be something like ministry leadership, being on the pastoral care team, which we have 40 people or 10 people right now who have 30 hours of training just to do pastoral care with people. That's one more step up, right, in leadership. A task force leader, we have very limited social justice that has an entire congregation that has to vote on the piece that we do. So to be a task force leader is kind of a big role in our congregation. Or a major project leader, which would be something like running RAIN, which is our interfaith homeless, I don't know how to explain it, overnight site piece. It's in other words, it's a big job. And then move from there so that you build on the leadership along with the mission as you move through.